that I went to talk to either had exemption or they were on the exempted list. And again, the owners or the operators of each company said if there is a worker that is concerned that their job is secure and that if they need to stay home, that was fine. So that was across the board. So we have had no issues in East Cocalico or Denver Borough with that whatsoever. Moving on, we are hoping that, and it's not to get rid of him, but we are hoping that Officer Fisher returns to the school in August if they open up. He has currently been back since the school closed, back on a day shift patrol position, which has helped us. Again, he's still doing some of the things for the school. In fact, he did some training today. He did a webinar from station in reference to the SRO items. So he's still doing that, but he is back on patrol. But I have the plan as of right now that he would be going back in August. So with that being said, and the time frame needed to hire a new officer and complete their training, I am requesting that I would be allowed to begin the background process on a new officer and hire when appropriate. I don't know if you have any questions on that or discussion.
The motion be to approve an onset process necessary in order to hire an additional police officer. That'd be the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any comments or questions?
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
I appreciate that. We will start the process probably next week, and in reference to the background, that'll take a couple of weeks. And then if that is successful, I would come back and request the hiring of said individual and move forward. The FDO program, or the Field Training Officer program, is for us is about 14 weeks. So if we move the process along, we will be probably where we need to be with that officer. So thank you.
If they go back to school. Yeah.
So that's basically my report tonight. I don't know if anyone has any questions or reference to anything.
Well, there's another motion to accept the resignation.
No, I don't think that's yet.
Not tonight.
No, I don't think yet.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Sure.
Zoning Officer Tony.
Yes, good evening, everybody. You should have a copy of my report. I'll try and keep it brief because we're doing a large agenda, but another busy month in the zoning department, 27 applications, 20 permits issued, 10 in review, 16 for pickup. Excuse me. Another single-family dwelling unit was permitted, 6 certificates of occupancy, 3 false alarms. I did have April, we originally had April zoning hearing, we had 2 cases scheduled, but pushed it back with the onslaught of the COVID-19. But we did elect to have all 3 cases, 2 from April and 1 from May, just this past week or so ago. And we had 2 cases. The first was Mr. Joseph Cole requesting a special exception to the code for a rural occupation at his home. And the second one was Mr. and Mrs. Donovan here looking for a special exception for a rural occupation to operate a part-time business selling plants and antiques out of their barn that they have on their ag property there, a large historic barn. And then the third one was Proactive Paint Relief and Wellness. They're currently in the township down towards Barry's Paint Shop. The owner, Mr. Larry Lausch, or Larry Lee Lausch, is looking to move that business to a property that he currently owns, very close to, well, it's on the corner of Bunker Hill and 272, a large triangular-shaped property with a single-family home there. He wants to move that business there, so there was special exception requests as well as a couple of variances, and we'll have those decisions next month. Just skipping down through, Ken McCray and myself visited several site visits to inspect on-site stormwater facilities at various properties, and basically it was the basins at Rose Hill, Winding Way, and also the old homestead basin. I did have one issue with a property on Smokestown Road. During the governor's work order for shutting down, we had a gentleman who started a new single-family dwelling. And I stopped by while they were out on site working one day and asked for their waiver paperwork. And upon inspecting the waiver paperwork, it did not say that they were allowed to do what they were doing. Or at least it wasn't clear. So basically, asked those gentlemen to stop for a little bit. The owner of the property contacted, based on my recommendation, to call our local Representative Jim Cox, and he did. And Mr. Cox was pretty helpful in getting some determination on that. So the good part is they were able to continue working and get the house at least windows, roof, doors on, so that it was somewhat weatherproof. So that worked out pretty well for them. Skipping down. The township manager and myself met with the road crew to discuss basically future activity with the road crew and the new and the new roadmaster position. Basically, I've been helping out to keep the road crew, or at least the road crew, to keep us up to speed on what needs to be done, what they are doing, what the manager and I see that needs to be done in the township. And at the end of this report, you'll see I have a brief narrative on what they've been taking care of. And maybe we'll just skip down to that. The last page of my report, you'll see road crew activity report, just to bring the board up to speed. As you know, recently we took possession of the new Ford tractor mower and the various attachments that go with that. The road crew, the three members are currently taking turns operating and getting familiar with that piece of equipment. They're already cutting grass and doing certain things in the township with that. They are catching up on the mowing and weed whacking around bridges and guardrails and all of that kind of stuff. The road crew shed was cleaned out to make room for the new tractor. This tractor was a bit larger than the previous one, and it was a tight fit. So we had some equipment in there that could be moved. Possibly some of these items can be sold. And that brings me to the next one. The old John Deere tractor was taken in trade by the dealer, but there was some attachments, some implements that were with that the dealer really wasn't interested in. So basically, we had those pieces of equipment cleaned up, some pictures taken, and with the board's approval, we'll probably get them on Municipal to try and recoup some of that money for those pieces of equipment. We have no use for them.
That's specific only to that tractor, right?
Well, not really. They're John Deere implements and they're 3-point attachments, which is pretty universal to a lot of tractors. If it's got a 3-point hitch at the back with a PTO, power takeoff, these things can be used on
So
a
we
lot of
can't
things.
use them at all.
Not on the new one because it's a bigger setup and we
Right.
have those implements now, but a lot of the farmers in the area will probably see that, and if it's a reasonable price, they'll probably grab it. I believe there are 2 augers and a flail mower, so they could use those.
Do you need a motion from us to go ahead and put those on the municipal?
We have that later on.
Do we have?
Okay.
Penny's got that covered, yeah. The road crew has responded to complaints of flooding issues on various township roads. Basically, we've been doing roadside gutter cutting or swale, instituting swales along the road edge. And they've instituted that, incorporated that on the following roads: Lakeside Drive, Hill Road, Bruner's Grove Road, Holmes Hill Road, Dogwood Drive, and Holtzman Road. Basically, with the heavy rains, we've experienced a lot of road flooding and it was overtopping the roads, getting some complaints. So we were pretty active in getting that instituted pretty quickly. And in between storms, we actually could look and see if those swale gutters, or whatever you want to call them, actually helped, and they did, especially at Lakeside Drive. It was coming across the road, going through a property across the street, and one of the gentlemen that lives there called us about it. So he's pretty happy to see we responded pretty quickly on that. In addition to that, the above-mentioned roads also did have they received large stone fill where needed to prevent vehicles from getting off the road edge and possibly having an accident, so that was taken care of. The manager had a list of all of the proposed road projects in the township. And after discussion with the manager and the road crew, we gave them a list to basically verify that these roads are ready to be resurfaced, oil and chipped, whatever the process was. But by doing that, they have to check to make sure crack sealing and all of that type of stuff is completed first. And they did go through that list, and I'm happy to say, in a few days, they knocked out all the crack sealing and got that taken care of. So that won't delay the process if, you know, these bids come in and we get approved, these companies get approved, they can start planning their schedule to do that road work. The road, the no trespassing signs that the board asked, that the board approved for the township shed property, those signs are ready. I'll pick them up tomorrow and I'll get them to the road crew so they can post them on the property. Or signs called me today about that. They also instituted, as far as the road crew is concerned, they instituted going through the properties in the township, picking up all the trash receptacles, servicing those. The picnic tables at Fishing Creek Park were repositioned and they were secured. I know Mr. Fry mentioned that. And last but not least, in the last few weeks, all of the outstanding PA1 calls, there was a little bit of a lag on our part because of the change that we experienced. So Dan and Brandon went through the PA1 calls with Penny's guidance to get that system open and operational. They went through them all, they reviewed them, addressed them, and satisfied all of the needs of PA1 call. And that gives you a little bit of an idea of what we've all been involved in. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, Tony, I think there was there a day that they were out checking on the Welcome to East Cocalico signs
Yes,
throughout the township?
correct. That was another item. I apologize. I should have had that. Quite a few signs exist out there, a lot more than I thought.
Me too, when I had heard that.
A lot of signs. Now, whether you want to replace them, repair them,
Was it like 30 almost?
yeah, it was.
Did we get a price for how much are they?
We didn't. In fact, some of the signs have some designation for the Lions Club, East Cocalico Lions, and some of them don't. You know, there are a few of them, I guess the Lions Club is maybe below the actual sign for Welcome to East Cocalico. But basically, I think we've got to prioritize which ones do you want and how do you want them to look. You want them just to basically repeat what's there, or do you want something a little newer? I don't know.
Or do you, from a cost perspective, do you replace the ones that are really bad on the secondary or tertiary visibility roads?
Right.
And on a couple of the primary roads, we put in a nicer sign that's larger.
Correct.
Yeah, from my perspective, there's a lot of small roads that are access around the perimeter of the township that.
They don't get a lot of visibility.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to go and start marking every access road to the township.
Right.
But the highways, that would.
It's really the main roads. Right?
Yeah.
Some of those
I would
signs on
agree.
those main roads are pretty,
I would agree.
They're old.
yeah, they're horrendous.
And reaching out to our friends at Horse Signs, we could deal with Eckerd Signs, they do work for us also. A vinyl decal to go over an existing sign so we could save some money. That may be an option, but again, it depends on what we want to do, how much we want to spend, and how many do we want.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess we got to accomplish part one, which was how many of them are out there.
Yes,
Right? I guess what I would say is part two should be letting the road crew take a look at them and deciding which of them are pretty bad. Which of them really do need your, because I've seen a couple of them where.
Might be hanging by one bolt.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah, and the way the sun was, that they're so faded, they're hard to see.
hard to see.
So really, them ranking what they think is good,
Prioritize which
average,
is
or
good.
poor.
Okay.
Good, average, or poor, really.
Yeah, I thought Tony had a good idea there, a nice new decal on the old sign. Would freshen it up, and it would be a lot less more cost effective than,
Right.
a whole new sign. If that can be done, maybe a
Yeah.
little research there would be.
Yeah, the only thing, of course, would need on that is possibly taking a picture of what exists,
Yeah,
see if they can
Or
duplicate it.
they could remove one and take it over to them.
Exactly, that's probably what we'll do.
That's probably the easiest.
This is
thing.
what we've got, this is the size, can you do it?
yeah.
And then and then the third thing there, Tony, would be, I think we should at least, Jeff or Alan, let's take a look at the primary roads, the high visibility ones, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm thinking specifically of the one I always remember is when I'm coming back from Berks County, I come up 272 and right by the pool there on the right-hand side coming,
Yes.
Just
up the hill there, we have an old sign right there that says, "Welcome to East Cocalico." I think it might be
Yeah.
one of the ones hanging by one screw
Yeah, yeah.
or one bolt.
And you can't buy them like that today. They're special.
They're antiques.
Antiques, exactly. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, but so in those, if they can identify what they think are the high visibility roads,
Okay,
because then it might only be a handful of signs.
yes,
Yeah.
okay. Will do. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention as far as signage is concerned, we brought this up at a previous meeting. When you come to the Denver Road, Colonel Howard 272 intersection, and you're sitting at that light coming off of Colonel Howard Boulevard, looking at the Comfort Inn, we have our memorial to the left. The back side of that memorial faces that intersection. It's a blank concrete or stone wall. The idea was brought up possibly something on that, not that we gotta get out there with a hammer and chisel it in, but some sort of a designation, welcome to East Cocalico Township. That might be a significant location to do that. It's the entrance to our township, you may want to think about that.
Can we do it?
Well, it's a veterans memorial, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe they should be the ones contacted,
I agree. We should probably talk with the
see
VFW,
what their thoughts
See
are.
what the
see what they think about that.
Yeah.
It's an ideal canvas for something like that. Now, the opposite side obviously has all of the branches of the service and the view and the wording on it.
Can you
This is about-
contact them and ask them?
Oh, sure, I know the commander there.
Any other chisel?
Will do. Okay, that's all I have for you tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Penny, you want to do the 2020 road project?
Sure. So here, so before you is a list of all the 2020 road projects, projects 1, 2, and 3, and bids that came in. Highlighted at the top is the lowest bidder for each one. Project number 1, which is Hillside Acres Development, to oil and chip that basically is the lowest bidder on that was Stewart and Tate, and they came in at $123,929. For project 2, the lowest bidder came in was New Enterprise Stone and Lime at $105,755. And for project 3, the lowest bidder came in at $235,487. Now, I did have, since it was so close between projects 2 and 3, between 2 bidders, there is only a difference of $2,000 basically, less than $2,000. In fact, it's almost just a little over $1,000 between if you wanted to combine projects 2 and 3 and award to the one bidder. There's only a difference of $1,000 between New Enterprise Stone and Allen Myers. So I think it would be the board's decision. You could go with either one of those. So I would start with project number 1 and work your way down through.
Okay. Project number 1, Stewart and Tate, the amount of $123,929.73.
Yeah, let me just say, I I looked over all these projects extensively, the roads that are there. You know, the oil and shipping here, it's needed on these different roads that are listed. You know, I'm comfortable with the low bidder there. They've done work in the township for multiple years, and all reports are they've done a nice job. The next two bidders are a whole lot higher, and I don't know that I would want to consider them. So I'd be ready to award that to Stewart and Tate. I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, I'm in agreement.
Okay.
They're an established, we've worked with them before, they're an established company.
Okay. So the motion be to approve the bid from Stewart Tate to do project 1.
And I'll make that motion. That's the location approximately is the Hillside Acres development.
Yep.
With several other roads
Yeah.
too.
Right, with Justin Circle, Lakeside Drive, Ridgeview development also.
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay, comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, project number 2. Do we want to do them separate or together? 2 and 3, or just 2 and then?
Well, I have thoughts about Rose Hill. You know, there I looked at all the roads there as well. The guys have done a good job of crack sealing in there. The amount of damage and sealing is not excessive in my opinion. You know, I think we can put that off a little bit. You know, I have budgeting concerns going forward this year with the amount of money we have coming in, and you know, and our change of command, so to speak. And I also, while I was out there, I ran into a resident there and had an extensive talk with him for 20 minutes or more. He turned out to be a roadmaster from a different county that moved into our township, and we talked about the conditions there, and it was his opinion that we could easily delay that a year or two to see where we come in financially in the future, and you know, get a new perspective on our priorities, the roads throughout the township. So yeah, it's my thought, I'd like to delay that and look at it again next year.
Okay. What do you?
I'm not sure. That one, do we need an answer to that one? I'd like to go over there and take a look at that,
Okay.
if that's okay.
We can wait on that one. Yeah.
We can,
Project 2 can wait.
yeah, we can wait on that
Yeah.
one, so. Let me take Jeff, let me take a drive over there.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll give Tony a quick buzz and we'll ride over there together.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3, homestead development.
Well, there's an absolute need on most of the streets there. The ironic thing is there's 2 streets in the development there that show little or no wear whatsoever. Maybe it's just because it's low use by residents only, but there was virtually no cracking, no need for any crack sealing. And, you know, unfortunately, the bid was put out to blacktop the whole development. You know, I feel it's not needed on those streets, but at the same time, we have to move forward with the bidding process. I'd hate to rebid this and see a couple more months delay. That would just throw us at the back of the line, and I don't think we want to be there. So, you know, and looking at the 2 bids for that project, with New Enterprise being just a few dollars higher, I'm always of the mindset that they have their blacktop in our plant in our township over there on Kurtz Road. You know, they employ local people from the township and from the area. You know, they've done good work in the township in the past. I'm of the mindset to award the bid to them to do over the homestead development.
What do you think, R.C.?
There's a few roads there that are just,
Yeah, and
they're really bad.
No, and that's what I'm thinking about. You're right, that one I've driven through, Jeff.
Yeah,
There's
it's-
some that are just, they're beyond the end of life,
They're bad.
right? And you're right, there's a couple there that aren't that bad. But if they're gonna go ahead and go in and do Homestead, when you start pulling apart the other roads that are there, I mean, we might be talking saving $10,000–15,000.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it would cost more than that to mobilize them
And
again.
it's gonna cost exactly to do it again. So I think we absolutely just continue with that plan. The smart thing to do is just do all of
yeah,
those.
at this point, I see no other
Right.
option.
And the way I look at it, between the two bidders here, when we get down to that small a difference in the pricing, right? I consider those equivalent bids, the way I look at it, okay? So I concur with what Jeff is saying. I agree. New Enterprise is right here. Let's go, I agree with Jeff and I support that.
So you approve Project 3, New Enterprise to do Project 3 at
At 237, 543,
48.
48.
Correct.
And your thoughts, Mr. Chairman?
I'll go with the New Enterprise.
So,
I know the other one that I think is a competent bidder, but New Enterprise is in our backyard.
That's it, they're employing local people.
No, exactly.
And,
Especially now, in today's times.
we gotta consider
Keep
that.
our
and again, I mean, these bids are
Close.
practically identical.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Practically
close.
identical. And so the only one that's open is Project 2, and I'll get out there this week.
Okay.
I'll give you a buzz, Tony, maybe we'll ride out there together.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Just so I get a fresh view of that one.
We have a motion and a second, we didn't vote on it.
Yeah, we
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carried, and we'll table section 2.
So help me with that, RC made the motion on that, and Mr. Mitchell, you second that?
Yep.
all right?
Yes.
Now, one of these projects, and I think it is Project 3, although Tony did say that, and he's correct, all the crack sealing and everything is done, but there are some areas that have sumps in them. And, there's no road cut work was done, those weren't dug out and patched. So, maybe to go ahead and authorize
Yes.
this contractor to fill in those areas, those sumps, low spots, to bring it up level, so when you do put the overlay down, it will be even.
There will probably be some overage to.
That's correct, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have authorization to go ahead and fill in those areas as well.
Yeah, I mean,
You have to lay it road.
Yeah, right.
there's gonna be an extra truckload or two of material.
Well, that wasn't in the bid, and I just want to make sure that we have authorization to give them the go ahead to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to overlay something that's failed.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
List of bills.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I apologize, I neglected to mention one thing that needs your attention tonight, and it has to do with the Stony Point development, Phase 2. You've heard us talking about a swale repair behind several homes there. Casey stayed tonight, and he can give a little bit more in-depth information on what Landmark is proposing to us
Oh,
to get your approval. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I know what you're talking about. Yes, go
If
ahead.
you'd like.
So to paint the picture for you, there's a large, well, I shouldn't say large, but a swale that runs behind 5 homes, touches a 6, so it's officially 6, but really only runs behind 5 homes. I said, probably almost a year ago now, we did approve a portion of the swale to be rip-wrapped and aligned with stone and geofabric, because the portion had continuously washed out and was an E&S hazard, continually washing silt sediment into the basin. So we approved that a portion of that swale be lined with riprap in a trapezoidal figure so that the entire swale was riprap. Recently, Stony Point is putting forth quite a big effort to get another financial security reduction and move along with dedicated the roadways and basics in the future, try and get their money back and more or less be out the development. So one of their efforts was clearing this swale over the last, let's just say 6 to 8 years. The scrub brush had grown up over top the swale and the grass more or less had died. Therefore, the swale had eroded because there was nothing holding it in place. So in an effort, Landmark has come back and proposed that they line just the bottom of that swale with riprap, not the sides like they did for the other previously approved swale modification. We do have some concerns relative to just riprapping the bottom because, as everybody knows, water will find the least path of resistance. And we did talk to the excavator feels as though he is comfortable wrapping matting underneath to propose a better standard so that it will not erode, it will grow up efficiently, and there'll be no issues. However, we would still end up probably recommending in the future that we hold off on releasing all their financial security until that swale has done has had its opportunity to convey a large amount of water and serve its purpose. That being said, we run into the issue that we have 6 property owners that are now, I guess, Landmark is proposing to change the landscape a little bit in their backyard, and that's where we flagged it to Tony, and Tony ultimately flagged it to the board, and to see how the board would like to proceed.
This is where they want to put stone in somebody's backyard.
In the back bottom of the swale, okay? Now, the swale has always been in the backyard.
Yeah.
As part of the recorded plan, it was supposed to be a grass-lined swale. You know, appropriate depth, appropriate side slopes, everything. They're not changing any of that. The very bottom of this swale is having trouble establishing, okay? And this is their fix for it, because they don't want to be bothered messing with this in the future.
You're saying the bottom of the swale?
The very bottom, yeah.
What's the elevation there?
I'm not sure.
Differential, I mean.
As far as the elevation of the bottom of the swale to the side, I think it's 1 foot. It's a parabolic.
So
It's a parabolic swale, so it's rounded.
Yeah.
But the whole swale is in the property owner's backyard.
Correct, yes. You go to the rear of that.
And the trees and the brush
that
overshadowed it so the grass didn't grow.
Correct. And this is all at the very rear of the properties.
If you put stone in there, is the property owner going to mow the other side of the swale?
Well, that was our concern. This is why we're dumping it on your lap.
Thank you.
So,
I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah.
I'll ask that question again.
Okay. It's a backyard, it goes down, there's a swale, and then there's grass behind it too. Well, they want to put stone in the bottom of the swale. So is the person going to go beyond the stone to mow that?
well, let me make this clear to you. The area beyond the swale, because Casey and I both had to see it to fully understand. There's not a lot of flat yard beyond the swale.
Okay.
The back wall of the swale goes up, and in many cases, there's an old stone, sandstone wall to the very rear. And so
Would that be
there's not a
okay?
lot of usable yard beyond this swale. The swale is in the rear.
So in other words, if they put stone in there and they didn't mow that, would that be better for the ground, the water?
Well, we want it established, and they should mow it or weed whack it, you know, once every so many weeks type of thing to keep it maintained. But it's not like they have usable backyard back there that they can.
It wouldn't matter if they didn't mow beyond the bottom of the swale? or-
Chances are most of those people are not gonna.
I think our larger concern is that we have 6 property owners that purchased a home off of a recorded plan, and an understanding and stormwater management easement agreement. This is what's on the paper, this is what I purchased.
Purchase, yeah.
And I guess we want to make sure that before we would give Landmark the okay on proceeding, with the understanding that we wouldn't recommend a release until it had the time to perform and make sure nothing bad was going to happen. That we give the 3 of you an opportunity to weigh in and see how you would like to handle the situation with 6 property owners that live there already. If this wasn't existing development, it'd be very easy, we'd handle it. However, when people live and have lived there for a couple of years, it definitely goes a monkey wrench in how to proceed.
I think I'd ask the property owners.
Well, we recommended that, Casey and I recommended that to Landmark, that they basically a sign off, or at least let the property owners know what's happening, what they're gonna
Yeah,
see, what they
I'm
experience.
sure the property owner's gonna be reasonable. If you guys communicate with that property owner and explain what's happening.
We've asked Landmark to do that, to
Okay.
communicate
My
that.
question is, who's responsible to take care of that basin?
That basin is owned by a property owner that is not part of those 6.
Right.
Okay, and we have an agreement with him that he has to take care of that. So now if we're changing that swale,
No, we're not.
we're changing the
Swale.
materials that are in that, which is gonna change the maintenance of that. And will that negate the agreement we already have?
I looked into the agreement briefly, and it just specifies a swale B1. It doesn't specify the exact material. I think the
You
biggest
see where I'm going with this? I don't want that owner to come back and say, well, you
Right.
changed things, so
No,
now.
it's a great thought.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right, like I said, I looked into that stormwater maintenance agreement briefly, but I think the biggest thing here is we have 6 property owners that signed off on something, and another property owner that's not part of this will signed off on taking care of the basin. How would the board like that to be acknowledged or notified? We did discuss with Tom briefly. He does not think that acknowledgement letter would have to be, my understanding is that he doesn't think it would have to be recorded, but nonetheless, that owners, the people, property owners could sign that document if the township required that landlord get that permission.
But none of them have been contacted yet about this.
Evidently, some of them have.
Some
I've
have.
gotten 2 phone calls from 2 property owners saying, Landmark mentioned this situation, but when I asked for more information, they didn't respond back in a timely manner. So I guess they broached the subject with them and said, hey, look, we're cutting back all the overgrowth, and we're gonna put some stone in the bottom of the swale, so you don't have to maintain that portion, and this is what we want.
Concept Excavating on behalf of Landmark has cut back, I think,
Yes.
probably about 15 to 20 feet of scrub brush in everybody's property, so we all know 15, 20 feet looks like that's part of the reason why the swale hasn't grown up.
Correct.
But they have been recently working back there. It's just a matter of getting the okay to proceed with what they're doing or getting other direction on how to proceed, and that's ultimately up to the board.
What's the odds of getting 6 people all on the same page
Well, I
at
guess
the
I'm,
same time here?
well, I want to take a step back. I guess I'm a little confused here in terms of why, if this is Landmark and this is 6 property owners and this is already in the plan, why the question to us?
Because the recorded plan is different from what they're proposing right now with the rock line swale. It is a modification.
Strictly from material,
Correct.
but the material's not defined in the recorded plan.
This material is not, the original material was supposed to be a line or a certain type of straw matting line through the swale, grown with grass, property owner mows the grass, part of their own end manual or agreement, part of the stormwater maintenance easement
Okay.
agreement.
So I'm not putting you on the spot, Casey, I'm just trying to understand. So technically, we are changing, we are requesting, academically, technically, we are requesting a change in the plan record.
I would
That's what
say
it comes down
I
to.
would say Landmark has requested a change, and
Right.
rather than Tony and I make that decision between the 2 of us,
Yes.
we felt more comfortable with the board
Get your feedback, yeah.
getting feedback, weighing in, and ultimately making a decision, because it does affect
Okay,
6 property owners.
here's what I would like to see for me. Can you get me a copy of that agreement so I can look at it myself?
The stormwater maintenance easement.
Yeah, please.
And
And
the
if
recorded
you-
plan, it's changing the recorded plan and all the agreements.
Thank you, yes. I'd like to look at those myself, okay?
If we're doing all of that, I'd want something in writing.
And I'd also like to see
I
the
agree.
original plan of record in terms of, I don't need all the details, but pull out the portion on the swale and material used on the swale. I can put the rest of it together from there.
Right, I'll probably email them and tell you tomorrow, a little packet
Yeah.
of the
If you could do that. for
prior
me,
correspondence and stuff, but
Sure.
like I said, it gets tricky from when
And
people
I-
start living there.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, I just need to see that to register it before I
Understand.
give you my opinion.
What's your take, guys, on the reason that grass never got established? This has been put in for how long ago?
Better part of 2 years, I would say, right?
I would say it's also the design engineer's opinion that's the same as Tony and ours, and that if something overgrows grass, such as scrub brush, the grass is going to die.
Chokes it.
Kills it.
So now that that's out of the way, would it make sense to try and do a better effort of reestablishing grass? That way you're not changing any.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years, with the excessive rain and moisture, it's been a challenge to
That's an excellent point.
grow anything.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah,
excellent point,
yeah,
and
Jeff's
nothing
got-
has to be changed.
Yeah, Jeff's got a good point. What if we just play the timeline right now, and now that you've made the change to the shrubbery,
Yeah,
you've
plain
taken
grass.
away, you've taken away what potentially chokes that grass.
Mhm.
Let's see what happens in the next 2 months.
Certainly.
You know, different year, maybe different weather pattern, more favorable to grow grass.
Right.
If they're gonna do that, though, it behooves them to get it done quickly at this point. We're approaching the end of May, and
Like,
you don't try and start grass in July.
Landmark absolutely wants to progress this as quick as possible, and so do we. We want them to establish whatever they're going to establish ASAP. So,
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd like to see that information one way or the other, but I like Jeff's idea.
Yeah.
Ellen,
Yep.
is
Mhm.
why not make the attempt now to plant that grass, get it exactly the material that was agreed upon and it's in the plan of record,
Mhm.
and let's see what happens in 2 months.
I will add to this situation, we had and you may remember, we had a similar situation with the swale behind the houses on Sandstone Drive in Phase 1. Having a problem, always wet, wouldn't establish. Ken, myself, Brent, we've been out there multiple times, Casey's seen it also. Struggling to get that to be established. A couple of minor changes with some of the homeowners not pumping their sump pump water out there at 24/7 and letting the grass grow higher
Mhm.
has given that swale a chance to establish itself. And when we were out there, I mean,
Yeah, it looked perfect.
it looked perfect, it looked beautiful. So,
this would be a very similar situation with the same amount of property
I
owners,
agree.
with them still running their sump pumps to the swale, so.
Right.
Like Mr. Mitchell said, that the removal of scrub brush will only help the situation, but nonetheless, if a developer would like to change something, then we approach you as if you would like to change as well.
Was this originally removed when the swale was put in, or nobody ever touched it from the beginning?
I think that it most likely was put in and it just scrub brush grows out.
You know, if nobody
Maintain.
maintains it, it's gonna come back and it's gonna resurface again.
Right, so that
Same
property owner
problems.
that was responsible never took care of it.
Well, that property owner wasn't responsible for it until recently because that home was the last one to sell
Yeah,
in the development.
yeah.
So that's why Landmark's going back and correcting it, because they were the developer, and they were responsible, and they didn't take care of it.
Landmark's correcting it because we wrote a punch list for their remaining financial security. That was a couple pages long, and that was one of those items.
Okay.
So I guess the direction of the board then would be to inform
Reseed.
Landmark to reseed it, mat it, per the original plans, and then if for some reason it doesn't perform, to revisit the subject in the future.
Right.
Okay. Tony, you'll inform Sharon about that?
Because at that point, Casey, we're not making any material changes whatsoever.
Correct.
Correct. Don't need to modify anything.
We're
Right,
not creating any obstacles for the homeowners to
right.
go through to mow or anything else.
Right. Okay, I'll contact the person at Landmark and make them aware of the plan. Thanks, Casey.
Thank you, Casey.
Thanks, Casey.
Sorry for the interruption, but you can see it needs to be called out.
No problem.
Okay, we'll continue with the list of bills. We have 2 sets.
Yeah, 2 sets, we have them combined though. Actually, there were 3 different payment dates, but we have total amount in the of these three payment dates of $422,371. Out of that, the general fund is $409,959.92. And the light fund, $12,411.08. Do I hear a motion to approve the list of bills as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Do you have a second?
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
MS4 stormwater. Ken?
Yes. The contest that we ran in Reedstown Elementary School for the students to design markers that help prevent dumping into storm drains. I think we mentioned that last time, but the final design was worked out and has been submitted to Booz Aluminum, and the pattern, the other company that makes the patterns has that now. It's being worked on. Booz is going to provide us with 400 castings, no cost. We just had to pay for the pattern, which is made by another company.
That's nice.
The
Boost isn't working yet, I guess, or?
no, actually, Booz is working.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
they consider it essential, and they're back working.
Okay.
The contest winners, there's a difficulty, and you would think it would be fairly simple to get a gift card for them. No,
Today's
it
time.
wasn't. Goes through Barnes and Noble, and apparently Barnes and Nobles have put this together, for some reason, sent them out UPS. Or do you send a gift card, UPS, and put it in an envelope? So it doesn't quite make sense, but there were apparently 2 attempts to deliver it at times when nobody was at the school since it was closed. And tracking it down, eventually it was returned to the sender. So I recontacted them to try to, get the address right so they could deliver it, and then several days later I was contacted again. No, they're not going to be able to do that. Could we then send them an e-gift card, an electronic one that would they get by email that they can then use to purchase the same way? So that, at long last, was worked out actually today, and they should be getting them within 3 days. The other glitch was the article I wrote for the effort to review. We got a nice photo of the kids over at the school, and I wrote an article for it and submitted it to the review, only to just eventually get an email from the editor saying the Cocalico editor isn't working right now, so last count hadn't been published. I didn't check this week's paper to see if it's in there, but it may be.
It wasn't in there.
Okay, so it's coming, but not yet. So I don't know what to say about that. We'll make it eventually. Okay, our MS4 annual report, which is a fairly important, massive thing, was submitted as a trial basis online last year in either late August or early September. We submitted it. And just from the last 2 weeks, I got an acknowledgement that it had been accepted and without any revisions. So it was accepted as is. So that's kind of a big deal.
Outstanding.
Good.
No revisions, we'll take it.
Yes. And they also said this year they're not going to do the online submission they did last year, but we will be able to submit a PDF version instead of the 10 pounds of paper. So that's at least an improvement. And the other thing is I am now, since I'm now back in the office again, my regular hours, I am setting up to do the inspections of the outfalls and the EMP, those management practice facilities, in Area 2 of the township. And so I'm getting the letters out to the owners and notifying them, so that between now and theoretically they're supposed to be completed by the end of June. They're lot of them. I don't know that we're gonna quite make that schedule, but I think EPP's gotta know that there's been some changes.
Absolutely, with the
Yeah.
COVID
So
situation.
I don't see that being an issue.
Right.
I had asked them about it, and they said they didn't think they would reject the report if they didn't have quite the right percentage of inspections done.
Refresh my memory, area 2
Area 2 is the area south of the turnpike and east of 272. So it's the southeastern corner.
is, okay. Got it.
Okay.
And that's all.
Okay, thank you, Ken.
Oh, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
The Martin text amendment, the solicitor that is guiding them through that requested that we table this until such a time that they can physically come in and speak with us.
Okay.
So that will be off the table. And as far as items C, D, E, F, and G, they're all tabled until we're through this. I don't know that I'm gonna keep putting them on the agenda until such a time where we are back on schedule, if that's all right with you? Or do you want me to keep them
Leave
on?
them on.
Okay.
I'd leave them on. Yeah.
They're already there.
Yeah. They're already there. That way we don't
Keep
forget them.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Can move down to new business, you mean?
Yes. Municipal bid for tractor.
So these are the items that Tony was speaking of, the 4 different items. 10-inch auger, a PTO attachment, a 6-inch auger, and a John Deere, some kind of mower, steer mower. So we're requesting permission to list and advertise those 4 attachments for sale as is on municipal bid.
Absolutely.
I'll make that motion, we authorize them to sell these 4 items. Municipal bid.
I'll second that motion.
Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
And Tony, will you be monitoring that then when they get up?
Lisa actually has it
Lisa.
ready to go on municipal, she usually monitors that, I'll keep in close contact between Penny and myself, yeah, I'm sure we will.
Okay. Okay, pool discussion. I gave you, everybody a packet. This is very fluid right now. As of now, we're in red, and we can't open in red. We're doing all the preparations. Ken was there today with tape and stuff. I have pictures of her 6 feet apart and stuff. We're getting ready to open if it ever. I've talked to Jim Summers from the rec center, and he thinks the end of June or maybe July.
Really?
And I was on a Zoom conference today with the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society, and Penn State gentleman was on there too for an hour and giving different information. The CDC has not given any specific things for pools, so we're working through all this as we're going through it. I intend to have plastic shielding between the snack bar vendors and the people, the front desk, the plastic shielding there. My personal opinion is, beginning of the season at least, we don't do any daily passes. Only members come in. I was supposed to know by yesterday if the pool swim team's gonna meet this summer or not. I don't think it is, so they take up most of the morning. So we could open in the morning for people and in the afternoon for people if we don't have a swim team. There was suggested that there's a program on the computer for golf courses. You can designate time to be at a golf course if you want to do time for people to be. Reservation, yeah. Because they're recommending, as of right now, you do maybe a quarter of your, most people you have in the pool. So that's about 70 to 65 people at a time in the pool. Because our max is 260. So it's all in fluid right now. In 2 weeks, there'll be another Zoom conference, and I'll be on that again to listen to more information. And I'm checking with Jim Summers and with Mike Hessian, because Denver and us are the same, we're working together, so.
Yeah, so let me just say this, because,
To extend the conference for 15 minutes, press 1. To turn off the music, press 1.
Thanks, Ken.
we're hitting the 2-hour limit, that's what it is. No, what I wanted to say is I think it's important we keep doing what we're doing, which is just keep planning to try to open the pool, right, Alan? And so-
Yeah, because I've had quite a few people.
Yeah, and I think it's important, because again, I think we need to get some sense of normalcy out there for the kids. In our neighborhood, we've had some issues with, the kids are getting really restless, and I'd rather see them in one location versus other locations, right? But I'm just curious, so have you heard anything officially about the swim leagues?
No, I haven't heard it.
Okay,
I was
I was just curious.
Neil Meyer told me that the 20th, they were supposed to, the major Lancaster County was supposed to decide yes or no. And I figured she'd call me today and say something, but she didn't,
So
so.
they may not have heard yet.
So,
Yeah, because the last I had heard was Lebanon and Lancaster's the league. I think there were 3 or 4 pools that, I don't remember the number. There's a number of pools that have decided they're going to try to open, but they will not have a swim team.
Yeah. So I haven't heard anything. Well, one pool in the county was proposing to open next week. Was that?
You mentioned that, and I.
That was that Mannheim?
I'm not sure, sir.
I think it was
I don't
Manheim.
know.
I think it was Mannheim. They said they were going to try to open the first week of June.
Yeah,
That's what I think I heard on the news.
yeah. And
Try.
Yeah. In that Zoom, the Henfield pool was there discussing stuff.
Well, as you know, or may not know, my office has gotten several calls about the pool status, are we open? And I explained to them, well, we're preparing to open it, but we're not sure when.
I contacted Tom to make up a hold harmless agreement for anybody that attends a pool, so if the legislature, they may do something in Pennsylvania, but if they don't, we'll have that agreement, because you can't say you're getting, have it, take it to get it there, but you know how the words are.
Now that makes sense. So it'd be, so when you're getting your season, when you're getting your family or season pass, you're signing a hold harmless agreement
That's correct.
for the season. Yeah, that we absolutely have to do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And all the guards will be wearing masks. And there's a special, I forget the name of the mask, but there's a cloth mask that goes like this, and they can put it up over their head if they jump in the water, and I can get that for that.
Okay.
So the thought right now is, we're still under governor's red.
Yep. So,
We're waiting for the governor to go yellow or the governor to go green, or what's the trigger point here to move forward?
good question. Maybe yellow, for sure green.
For sure green, but yeah, I don't know what the yellow criteria
I know.
is. I don't know what the crowd size is
Yeah,
for yellow.
I agree with Penny. I don't even know what the
What
criteria is for yellow right now.
25 instead of 10.
It's 25 for yellow,
Yeah.
so you can't,
But even in the yellow phase, what I've been reading is there's still going to be significant restrictions
Right.
of businesses and of a number of things. So,
Well, the one thing they were talking about, the 7-foot square or 6-foot square, they're saying you make a 6-foot square, put 2 lawn chairs there, then you have 6-foot empty space, you make another 6-foot square, put 2 lawn chairs there,
yeah.
and that's how you designate. So you will not have as many lounge chairs around
To clean.
and clean and stuff like that. I'm looking to close the pool at 7:30, and from 7:30 to 8, totally clean the whole place significantly. So I'm thinking I'm gonna buy a power washer.
And Jeff, to your comment, I guess I'm going to say this publicly. I'm so confused right now as to where Lancaster County is. I don't know if we're in the red, I don't know if we're in the yellow.
Maybe the
I
pink.
applaud, I am absolutely applauding, you know, our congressmen, our state senators, everyone at the county, our commissioners, but I don't